Hello, and welcome to another Light Reading podcast. This is the Notebook Edition. Congratulations, you've made it through yet another week. You know what? We're into football season. These weeks shouldn't feel as long as they do, but somehow they do. But good for you. I'm Phil Harvey. I'm an editor here at Light Reading.
Oh, hey, I'm Jeff Baumgartner, senior editor at Light Reading.
I'm Mike Dano, an editor at Light Reading also.
I'm Nicole Ferraro, a temporary human life form masquerading as an editor at Light Reading.
I'm Kelsey Sports Ball Sizer, editor at Light Reading.
Great. Okay, so before we get to gambling odds, let's cover the week's stories or what was happening, in our own reporting and things we might have observed around the industry or elsewhere. I think the way I sort of explained it initially was stuff we thought was interesting or stuff we thought was weird. Jeff, let's start with you.
Okay, well, I guess it's interesting. Maybe some people think it's weird, but I mean, the one thing I've been trying to do is kind of keep pulling on the string on what network upgrade costs are going to be for DOCSIS 4.0. The path that a lot of cable operators are taking. The interesting thing kind of this week was Credit Suisse pegged those costs at like $180 per household pass, which kind of put it at the low end of a range that kind of been hearing in the like 400 to even 600 per home pass. So definitely on the low end there. But there's definitely some opinions out there on the number, that it's too low. I mean, I did hear from some industry people saying, yeah, I think it's pretty low. And then out on Twitter, when I tweeted this story out, I had a person whose handle represented a medical marijuana baker in Canada arguing that same thing. So I'm like, who can argue with that? So I'm definitely going to double check now that, whether that number is too low or not. So
get you some Fritos while you're at it.
Right. Yeah. Some different kind of edibles, related to DOCSIS 4.0 somehow. But, the big issue is that, there's no real transparency around those numbers yet. While the technology is being developed and the operators aren't really being very helpful either. They're saying, well, the costs will be reasonable, which, can mean anything. So we'll kind of see where that goes. And but the number is going to be a lot higher than 3.1 was. It was like $8 to $10 per home pass. But still, if they're in that $180, $200 range, it's way below fiber to the premises. And I think that's kind of the message that some of the operators want to take to the Wall Street guys anyway. It's like, hey, if we're going to do 4.0, it's not going to break the bank.
Yeah, like this is not fiber, but it's also not as expensive as fiber, so therefore it's good.
Yeah, they're trying to say, hey, the performance is in the neighborhood, but we're not going to have to spend quite that amount of money. So, but it's not really helping. That story hasn't really helped their stocks. The cable guys have been getting pummeled pretty hard, so far this year.
Anyone have cable at home? No.
I do. Yeah.
You do? Do you have DOCSIS something or other? Are you on DOCSIS 2?
I think we have 3.1 here. 3.1. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I think we had 2.0, quite a while back, but we're up in the 3.1 range right now. Yeah.
I remember how when they rolled out high definition stuff, the pay TV providers had the gall to just say the introductory cost of high def service was like $500 per household or something like that. And they just billed consumers straight out. Like they were just like, if you want this new set-top box that does all these amazing things, it's going to cost you. I don't think that would catch on in broadband land anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that they would kind of run into some problems, but I don't remember those specific costs. But I remember when HD VOD was starting to come out, and you can get a movie in HD format. It was like kind of a novel thing. And there are some guys in the industry is like, well, it's 4 times the bit rate. So therefore we can charge 4 times the price on a rental. So if it was $5, they're like, hey, $20 because it's HD, and just because of the bit rate, we should be able to jack the price up. And that came from an engineer, of course. It didn't come from a marketing person. But anyway, you could tell that didn't really play out that way.
They tried that in 5G too. They tried to charge extra. No one's biting on that. No one wants to pay extra.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't know, the value is not 4x. Even if it's the
same. It's the same exact connection. That's the thing they don't want to contend with. Mike, what happened? What happened on your watch this week?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. This week we had all kinds of random news items from some stuff about FCC rip and replace program. We had Verizon launch standalone 5G. We have Dish Network might potentially sell its Boost Mobile operation to, wait for it, Charlie Ergen, the founder of Dish.
What?
Through a random special purpose acquisition company he's got. But lots of stuff going on this week. But the one thing I wanted to mention on this thing is that all right, so we actually had some interesting news on the edge computing front. If you remember what edge computing is, because most people aren't talking about it anymore. It used to be a thing, not really anymore. But Microsoft held its big cloud trade show event this week, and it officially publicly launched its public edge computing service. So that's kind of interesting. It's certainly behind, Amazon. Amazon has been operating that for a while with Verizon. Verizon has like 24 public edge computing sites all over the country, and now Microsoft does too with its partnership with AT&T. But we can definitely see that Microsoft is behind the game because right now they're operating 2 edge computing sites. I think one in Dallas and one in another city. And then they announced grand plans to expand that to a total of 4 different public edge computing sites around the country. One's in Detroit, a couple of other ones. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, we've seen companies like Lumen launch edge computing. Zayo made an announcement about that. I know Cox is expanding their number of edge computing sites. So here comes Microsoft in partnership with AT&T right now, but I expect that will expand in the future. But we're starting to see a little bit more movement in edge computing, which is I'm not sure I would say it's interesting. It's something.
Yeah, it's something.
It's a thing. Yeah, I wouldn't put interesting, but it's a thing.
I think there's a big, I don't know, I guess on the back of all the private wireless push that the, telcos have had, I think that they're sort of seeing that stuff is taking a long time to catch on in many markets. Edge computing might be a quicker return on investment for certain companies, especially healthcare providers and stuff like that have a lot of computing needs, coupled with low latency stuff near their premises. But yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. I think they're building it, and we'll see if they come.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how they have to do those networks anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see, Nicole. What's happening?
Well, I had a couple of stories this week related to the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, RDOF, as it's affectionately known. And the most significant one, I think, is the one we published yesterday evening about Starry defaulting on all of its bids. It was basically disclosed in a 57th footnote in a public notice that the FCC released late in the day yesterday, where it was authorizing, some over 1,000 bids for Nextlink and a few other companies. But in there, it said that Starry had told the FCC that it was defaulting on all of its bids. We reached out to Starry. They declined to comment on the story, so we don't have a ton of details as to why this is happening, but we know that Starry's been in some financial straits, both before it IPO'd and since then. Jeff's written a bit about that as well. So may have something to do with their letter of credit, or I don't know, but it doesn't seem that they're going to be building out. And that makes, at this point, like 3 of the top 10 winners that are not actually building out their what they won for. That's LTD, right? And Starlink were both denied their long form applications, and now Starry, it seems like, is pulling out. So the other story I had this week was regarding Starlink's RDOF rejection. Starlink is appealing that decision with the FCC. And basically, the whole Starlink saga with the FCC and RDOF has been unfolding publicly in a series of documents filed by Viasat and then responded to by Starlink. So what we know about this is there's a lot of dispute about Starlink's speeds. Basically, Ookla has shown for the past 2 quarters Starlink getting slower as it expands. But SpaceX, in its appeal with the FCC, is trying to say, well, we have data that shows that by the time these RDOF deployments happen, our network is going to be performance ready. That information is redacted from the public filing, so I can only show you black boxes as evidence of that. But I don't know. It's a matter of, is that a good enough, like, is that a good enough reason to give SpaceX, several $100 million to build out in areas that, frankly, could be built out with fiber right now if those areas weren't blocked out on all of these state maps while they're handing out dollars through the American Rescue Plan, through USDA. They can't even offer up these RDOF locations because they've been, awarded to these companies. They probably could have already been built out, a lot of these places. So it remains to be seen how this unfolds. If I had to guess, I would say that the FCC is going to stick with its decision. But we'll see. It's very political as well. So anyway, some RDOF stuff from me.
Interesting. The RDOF thing is, you're right. People win the bids, but winning the bid was just an invitation for more scrutiny. And when that happened, a lot of their cases kind of fell apart. I do admire, grudgingly admire the SpaceX Starlink, line of narrative of, of course we can't do that now, but by the time this gets out there, of course, we'll have the network built. I mean, trust us.
Yeah. Trust. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to trust when it's showing that it's literally getting slower.
We're calling it autonomous driving now, but, we know it's not really that way. But by the time enough people get a hold of it, it'll be, kind of a thing. So, it's very, that's cute. I like it.
It is cute.
Well,
I think the FCC thinks it's cute.
One thing that really should be mentioned here too is that since we're dumping our notebooks here, I think Nicole has a sizable notebook to dump because for those of us who track FCC filings, there's a lot of them and they're really long. And it can be overwhelming. And so the fact that she has found all this stuff this week, dude, that's like a legit awesome find. Both of those items, and it is not easy to do that kind of stuff. So well done, Nicole, for going through all this.
No, her expense reports are just like line after line of migraine medications. That's all it is. Just
like who reads the footnotes?
In the explainer column, it just says "squinting" with an exclamation point, and that's all she says.
It says a lot about me that I literally love reading those FCC filings. Like, I get joy out of it.
Where they hide the good stuff,
Hell,
Oh, by the way, company admitted it doesn't have a network. It's like, what? Yeah. It is kind of ridiculous, but also par for the course. But Nicole, also another point you brought up is that these these areas that need broadband the most are not only not going to get it probably ever, but also could have already had it by now if there were just a clean line of funneling the dollars directly to the institutions that could provide the service with whatever technology, was available right now. But instead we have this weird, state fair type process, like it's like judging the corny dog competition. And it's like, oh, look, the mayor's son wins again. It's this stupid politicized thing. And it doesn't make any sense, because it's like, it's not only costing everybody a lot of time and money, but the people who actually need the broadband are never going to, are not any closer to getting it.
Yeah, I'll tie this in slightly with the episode of The Divide that we put out today. I talked to Ryan Johnston, who handles federal policy for an organization called Next Century Cities, which basically advocates for local government in broadband policy settings. And they recently put out a report that's basically showing how through two different proceedings, the FCC doesn't make room for local voices in their comments process, and also doesn't factor their voices in for those who actually find a way to go through the onerous process. And that plays a role in how all of these things end up shaking out. Yeah. Certainly for smaller rural communities, if they're not being represented in how these programs are being written. RDOF at this point is like a program from another era, because it was pre-COVID.
Right.
And now we have billions and billions of dollars being funneled through ARPA and BEAD eventually. And, all of these programs. The USDA is actually pretty effective at their Reconnect program. They get a lot of props from people in the industry and on the ground for how they run their stuff. But yeah, so right now RDOF is serving as a barrier. It's also a 10-year program. It's almost in opposition to some of the other stuff that's happening. Although some of the companies are in the process of building with their RDOF dollars, and Spectrum, I think, has done quite a bit.
With phase 2 coming up on RDOF, are they, there's a lot of things that they can fix or make better. I don't know if they've outlined anything there, but
I haven't seen a word about phase 2. Have you?
No, it's kind of like, it feels like they're still slogging through this one. But at some point they're dealing with that. Yeah, they're going to have to put together and say, what did we learn that we did wrong, or can be fixed, and try to do what they can when the phase 2 comes around.
Yeah, the only winners here are lawyers. That's the only person who's going to really win here. Everything else is going to get delayed. It's just going to take forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair place to leave that topic for now. Oh, by the way, you heard my stupid rant on broadband. If you want to hear educated people who know what they're talking about, listen to The Divide, because they're actually Nicole's actually speaking with people who have firsthand knowledge of these things, and not somebody who reads an article and then has suddenly has some thoughts in his big empty head. Kelsey, you've either got to fix the edge, or solve all the broadband problems, or have something completely different to talk about. Those are your options.
Oh man, I have what? Yeah. Oh, you're in the hospital? Oh, okay, I'll be right there.
I feel like she stalled. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Don't worry, no one's in the hospital. Okay. I had a little SD-WAN roundup earlier this week. So Cisco and Microsoft were teaming up to use Microsoft's global backbone network to better connect customers to the cloud within Cisco's SD-WAN Cloud Hub. And they said that it'll utilize Microsoft's backbone network, which includes 60 Azure, I never know how to pronounce it, regions.
Light blue is how I would say.
Light blue, yes. And then Orange also is working with customer Norauto to bring SD-WAN to, I think they have 300 sites deployed, and they'll bring it to 380 total to those. It sounds kind of like a AutoZone almost, but like a French one. I think I got it right. I'm sure I'll get a letter from them where they're like,
the AutoZone.
Yeah, not the AutoZone. Sorry, Pierre, who's actually French, who has to listen to this.
Yeah.
We don't sound like that.
Yeah. I really do want the correspondence between Kelsey and the French AutoZone yelling. That seems like a perfect diversion for what's happened this week.
We have fromage samples at every
No,
segment.
no more accents.
Okay, sorry.
We're done.
Yeah, this
Nicole's
doesn't have
like,
an accent
"It's hurting my
filter on it.
ears."
Nicole, I've tried to hit all the buttons I can, but there's nothing here. Sorry.
Apologies.
I think she's stuck that
The
way.
only accent allowed is my Queen's accent.
Yeah.
I can do the
Sure
rest in
that's
a
not
southern
Staten
accent.
Island? No, okay.
And then the other update was that Ariaka combined their web gateway and firewall as a service within their Zero Trust WAN service. And I love the firewall as a service acronym. If I can just do a little plug for that for a minute. It looks like FWAS to me.
Oh, there's a W?
Yeah,
they use
because
the
there's
W.
already like, I think
Oh,
it's
that's
like
cute.
yeah, I think it was like function as a service is the
Oh, they had to.
FWAS. So firewall is
Yes.
FWAS.
Oh, boy.
Which with your Queen's
Wait,
accent,
are people going to conferences and standing on stage and very sincerely saying FWAS?
FWAS. I don't think
Or
so.
FWAS as somebody who's not from New York, Queens, New York might say.
We had grown people with several degrees getting up in front of their peers and saying sassy, like with all the authority one could muster. So I'll believe anything
The
at this
second
point.
I will leave that room the second I hear someone say FWAS on stage.
FWAS.
I value my time.
It has to be.
I'm going to try and work it into the next panel that I take part of.
It does.
Be like, how's your FWAS?
I'm gonna start bringing protest signs. To
that would be great. We should stage our own panels and then protest them. Oh, sorry. I just media guy
We
thinking out
shouldn't
loud.
be here.
Yeah, right. Panels are terrible.
We are not AutoZone.
Oh no! She's doing it again.
I'm hitting the button. I'm trying to fix it. I'm sorry,
Can't
guys.
help
Hold
it.
on a minute. It's not.
Man.
All right. Well, I think I have to get some stuff out of my notebook before all hell breaks loose. Actually, the only thing I have is that by the time you're seeing this, hopefully we will have announced the Leading Lights finalists. So that contest has been going on for a few weeks, and thanks to all of our editors and all of our extended network of analysts, industry experts, and other folks that take our panicky calls and emails. Please explain this to me at the last minute. So we do have our short list of finalists. It's actually quite a long list because we had so many categories. That's up on the site right now. Congratulations to everyone who entered and made it that far. And we will begin the process of finishing the judging in our second and final round and declaring winners. We'll do the winners announcement on December 2nd. But until then, we're going to work hard with a network of outside judges and, of course, our own staff, and assess, what's there in the finalist category. So we're in the final stages of the competition, and I figured I would let everybody know because I'm sure somebody somewhere is trying to reach us right now and ask us when's the announcement going up. So that's the answer.
What's about that?
Yeah, exactly.
You can send that cheese basket to 535. Yeah, what's our bribe policy for?
Yeah, it's as I'm getting older, it's getting more and more lax. Let's be honest. So yeah, it's very much things that can be consumed in a single day. So. Dinners, drinks, things of that sort are permissible.
Edibles.
Super Bowl tickets. Yeah, edibles. I'm not going to say that on. Things that require an extraordinary amount of expense or effort are probably going to be frowned upon. And then, of course, the arbiter of all these things is my own conscience tempered with everybody in the editorial group going, no. So
yeah, I feel like you've explained the bribe policy way too sincerely.
Yeah. Well, that's because
we don't have one.
We don't have one on paper. No, it's very much.
I feel like people were like writing all of that down. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Mine is
If we convince them that we've got
dinner.
that nailed down, then it makes it quite simple, and then we'll just get people just handing us 6-packs at trade shows, which is really what we all got into this business to do, right?
That's the goal.
Yeah. Just, let's see, you're a light beer guy, right? And then they just hand it to you. And you're like, yeah, cool.
No, I'm IPA.
So
All right. Got it, Jeff. Writing that down. Make sure I'm putting it in my notebook. Okay,
All
cool.
the hops.
Well, we've hit the 25-minute mark and actually blown a little bit past it. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Shall we do the sign off all together in concert, all as one big team? Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it as weird as possible.
In 3, 2, and 1. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, or don't.